On this day in history, July 24th, 1701, Antoine de la Mothe Cadillac founds the trading post at Fort Pontchartrain, which later becomes the city of Detroit. Included in the following is an excerpt from the 1944 edition of the Encyclopedia Britannica going over the history of the city. Detroit, Michigan, USA, fronting 12 miles on the Detroit River and 4 miles on the River Rouge, is the oldest city of any size in the USA, west of the original seaboard colonies. Founded in 1701 by Antoine de la Mothe Cadillac with 100 settlers and soldiers, it was 17 years old when de Bienville began operations in New Orleans, and 63 years old before St. Louis was founded. The city antedates Buffalo by about a century, and it was 137 years old when Chicago received its first charter. The first settlers, as well as the first soldiers, were French, and the government was French until 1760, when, as one of the results of the French and Indian War, it was occupied by the British under Colonel Robert Rogers. A few English settlers took up farms nearby, but the place remained chiefly a military and trading post through the whole of the first century. During the Revolutionary War, Detroit was a center of British influence, and a point which Indian forays into the Ohio country were directed. Under the treaty that closed the war, Detroit passed nominally to the United Colonies, but on various pretexts the British held possession until January 11, 1796, when under the Jay Treaty, the American flag was raised over the fort. During the War of 1812, the place was surrendered to the British under General Brock, but the next year, after the Battle of Lake Erie, it was returned to United States control. In the year 1805, Michigan was organized as a separate territory, with Detroit as its capital and also as the county seat of Wayne County, which included what are now Michigan, Wisconsin, and part of Minnesota. The territory was afterwards narrowed down, and Detroit continued to be the capital of the territory until 1837. It was the capital of the state until 1847, when the seat of government changed to Lansing. In 1805, every house in the town except one was destroyed by fire. This gave opportunity for an entire replanning of the place. The old division into narrow streets and small lots was entirely abandoned. To each citizen, whose old site was obliterated, a much larger lot was awarded free. The arrangement of streets left a number of open spaces which were dedicated as parks. The whole effect was one of openness and roominess, unusual in the planning of towns at that early day. The older portions of the city retain the old characteristics of wide streets with occasional triangular parks. From this center radiate the main thoroughfares, which follow the lines of the old territorial roads. Michigan Avenue is the starting point of the old Chicago Road. Grand River Avenue runs across the state to the rapids of the Grand River, now the city of Grand Rapids. Woodward Avenue leads north to the Saginaws, and Gradion to the foot of Lake Huron. Outside the city limits, these roads were generally 4 rod wide, but modern improvement has transformed them mostly into wide paved roads. Woodward Avenue is 120 feet wide within the city limits and 204 feet wide from the city limits to Pontiac, making it one of the finest main roads in the country. When the automobile began to create a need for improved highways, the county of Wayne, of whose wealth and population Detroit constitutes the largest part, established an efficient road commission. Through its work, the county has been covered with an extensive network of paved roads. For a number of the main thoroughfares, 204 feet has been established as a standard width. The road system has been supplemented by ample provision for parks. The largest of these, River Rouge Park, is 1,204 acres, but Belle Isle Park is the gem of the system. It is an island of 985 acres in the Detroit River, connected with the mainland by a bridge. Palmer Park, 287 acres, Chandler, 230 acres, and Eliza Howe, 158 acres, are also highly developed. The total park system in 1940 comprised 3,651 acres. A boulevard 12 miles long and 150 feet wide encircles the central section of the city. The city's remarkable growth is shown by the increase in population, which in 1890 was 250,876, in 1900, 285,704, 1910, 465,766, 1920, 993,678. In 1930, 1,568,662, and in 1940, by federal census, 1,623,452.